Hi students, good morning. Our next discussion is synapse. Okay. You know what is the fate of a neuron once its length is over? Okay. Suppose for example, okay, suppose this is a neuron, okay, this is a neuron and these are the axon terminals. So although the neurons are the longest cell in the human body, still they have a limit in their length. Once it is over, it will be a place where a new neuron begins with. So what happens is that so this is how the neurons are arranged in the nervous system. Okay. So once the axon of a neuron is over, it is the place of the beginning of a new neuron. Okay. So we can say that there is a gap in between. Okay. There is a functional junction in between, which is called the synapse. Okay. So synapse is the functional junction present in between two successive neurons. Okay. So or neuron or the in between two neurons or in between a neuron and a muscle. Okay. For example, in case of the motor neurons, which are originated from the central nervous system and moves to that innervates an affected organ, suppose a muscle. Okay, for example, a muscle. So the neuron originated from the central nervous system, of course, which begins with a neuron, and that ends, the axon endings does not end at a next neuron, but on a muscle. So there are two situations. One is between two neurons and one is between a neuron and a muscle. Okay, a muscle. So we can say that the synapse present in between two neurons is called neuronal synapse. Is called the neuronal synapse. Similarly, if a neuron ends at a muscle, okay, if a neuron ends on a muscle, okay, on a muscle, so the functional junction here, okay, so here a nerve, a neuron ends on a muscle. So here then synapse is the functional junction between a neuron and a muscle. We call it as the myoneuronal synapse. Myoneuronal synapse or neuromuscular junction. Okay, so we have two types of synapses. Neuronal synapse and myoneuronal synapse. Okay, myo stands for muscle. So if we draw the structure, okay, so it is the meeting place of the axon terminals and the dendrons of the next neuron. So if I enlarge this portion, okay, if I draw this portion, okay, it's like, so this is the neuron ending, this is the axonite and this is the terminal knob or neuron or axon endings. So its structure is very important for your examination point of view. So let me draw, and I am going to draw this portion, okay, this portion of the next neuron. So we can say that when we draw the structure of a synapse, there is one axon, axonite, and a swollen part we call the axon terminals or terminal button. Okay, so if we draw, and this is the synaptic cleft. Synaptic cleft. The whole functional junction is called the synapse, and this junction, this gap in between a fluid filled area, which is called the synaptic cleft. Okay, synaptic cleft. So the membrane, the part of axon terminal which is facing the synaptic cleft is called the presynaptic membrane. Okay, pre means before. Okay, so presynaptic means before the synapse. So presynaptic membrane is the membrane, okay, this membrane, and there is a membrane after the synapse, right? We call it as the postsynaptic membrane. Okay? Presynaptic membrane and postsynaptic membrane. Okay? Now, if we draw the further details, the axon terminals or the synaptic knob contains many mitochondria in it. In order to provide more and in order to fulfill the high energy requirement of the synaptic nerve. So they contain a large number of mitochondria in it, and they contain vesicles. Okay, vesicles. They are called the synaptic vesicles. Okay, synaptic vesicles. And these vesicles are filled with the neurotransmitters. Okay, neurotransmitters. So we can say that these vesicles are called the synaptic vesicles. Okay, synaptic vesicles contain neurotransmitters in it. And we have a postsynaptic membrane. Okay, we have a postsynaptic membrane of the next neuron or the muscle. Okay. So now, so this is the structure of a synapse. Okay, the whole functional unit is called the synapse, and the junction, the gap in between is called the synaptic cleft. Okay, synaptic cleft. So these synapses could be three types. Okay, one is chemical synapses. Okay, these are the synapses in which the transmission of impulses from one neuron are transmitted to the next neuron via synapse using the chemical substances or the chemical the neurotransmitters. They are the chemical substances. So they are the chemical synapses. Another one is electrical transmit or the electrical synapses. So these are the synapses in which the impulses are transmitted via electric activity. You know, electric activity, and the other one is the third type is conjoined synapses. So the conjoined synapses act both as chemical synapses as well as electrical synapses. So the function or the advantage of having a synapse in between, one is that it slows down the transmission of impulse. You know, one of the main purposes, the very unique peculiarity of neuron is the transmission of impulse is very fast. It's a very preliminary prerequisite, you know. At the same time, the function of synapse is to reduce the speed of impulses. Don't you think that it's contrary? It's not contradictory. The reason is that reduces the speed as per the physiological requirement. You know, racing the bike at a very high speed is always fascinating. It's always a passion. At the same time, our speed is harmful. Okay? Speed is good, but manageable. In the same way, it is true here as well. So, it is speed that slows down the speed of transmission, and also that prevents the impulses from going in wrong direction. And another function is that always the transmission of impulses are always unidirectional. That always travel from synaptic node to the or the presynaptic membrane to the postsynaptic membrane. Okay, that is always unidirectional. And another function is that sometimes it allows to pass certain impulses. One condition. In other condition, that inhibit the transmission of certain other impulses. So it could allow or it could inhibit the transmission of impulses. So this is the structure of synapse. Now, the transmission of impulse via a synapse is called synaptic transmission. Okay, synaptic. Transmission of impulse across a synapse. So, as I just mentioned to you earlier, the transmission could be electrical or chemical. In case of chemical transmission, the transmission occurs via chemical substances, or we can say they are the neurotransmitters. For example, acetylcholine, they are the chemical substances. So, that such transmission of impulse across a synapse is called chemical transmission. Okay, chemical. Then second one is electrical transmission. So, electrical transmission is a type of transmission in which the electric charges are directly transferred into the postsynaptic membrane, because these are the synapses where the presynaptic and postsynaptic membranes are very closely arranged. Okay, such junctions are called tight junctions. So these are the places where presynaptic and postsynaptic membranes are very close to each other, and just like two copper wires of an electric wire, when that comes in close contact, they can, when they just touch, the electricity can transmit from one to next. Exactly in the same way, the impulses from one neuron can easily be transmitted into the next neuron via a tight junction, which are the closely arranged presynaptic and postsynaptic membranes, and therefore the transmission is very easy. Okay. Now, let's look into the transmission of, or the chemical transmission a bit more in detail. Okay? If you remember my previous class, the resting membrane potential is outside positive and inside negative, right? Outside positive and inside negative. So this is the resting membrane potential, and during an action potential, during the transmission of an impulse, the neurons produce an action potential. Action potentials are produced during the depolarization of the resting membrane potential, in which the outside positive becomes negative and inside becomes positive, only for a very short period of time, and that moves forward. Okay. So after axon is over, this wave spread to the axonites, and finally to the synaptic knob or axon terminals. Okay. So you know that the depolarization followed by repolarization. So that depolarization and repolarization moves all the way into the axon terminals, and finally that occurs to the here as well. Okay. The outside becomes negative, inside becomes positive. Okay. So this is the action potential, and here it is, and that moves all the way into the presynaptic membrane. So we can say that once the action potential reaches the presynaptic membrane, so we can say that the presynaptic membrane is depolarized. Okay, so the membrane permeability changes, that varies. So during which the calcium ions present in the synaptic cleft, they rapidly move to the synaptic node. Okay, the calcium ions present in the synaptic cleft, because of the depolarization of the presynaptic membrane, the calcium channels or the calcium gates also depolarizes, and that results in its opening. Therefore, the calcium gates are opened and more large number of calcium ions influx into the synaptic node. Now, the presence of calcium ions inside the synaptic node that stimulate certain enzymes, okay, that activate certain enzymes which are required for the transportation of synaptic vesicles towards the synaptic cleft. So, the calcium ions activate the enzyme, and in presence of that enzyme, these synaptic vesicles are transported to the presynaptic membrane, and finally, slowly and gradually, these vesicles fuse with the presynaptic membrane, and the neurotransmitters are released into the synaptic cleft. Okay. Now then these empty vesicles are transported back into the synaptic knob, and they are refilled with fresh neurotransmitters. Okay. Now the neurotransmitters are now in the synaptic cleft, and as I told you earlier that this is unidirectional in its flow. So there are specific receptors present on the postsynaptic membrane. Okay. So once the neurotransmitters are released into the synaptic cleft, they bind with the specific receptors present on the postsynaptic membrane, and that forms a neurotransmitter receptor complex. Once this complex is formed, that depolarizes the postsynaptic membrane. Okay? The binding of synaptic vesicles with the receptors, that forms receptor neurotransmitter receptor complex, and that depolarizes the postsynaptic membrane, and therefore the sodium channels which were closed earlier, that opens, and therefore there is a sudden influx of sodium ions from the extracellular fluid into the postsynaptic neuron. Okay, I am talking of this neuron. This is that portion. Okay, inside this is the cytone of the next neuron. So it is the cytone of the next neuron. So the synaptic vesicles bind with the receptors, and that depolarizes the postsynaptic membrane, and that is again sent to the next neuron, the axon of that neuron. In this way, the neuron from one neuron is transmitted to the next neuron via synapse. So this entire process is called the synaptic transmission. Okay, synaptic transmission. So this is for the now the synaptic transmission could be two types. One is excitatory transmission, and other one is inhibitory. One is excitatory and other one is inhibitory. Okay? So as the name implies, excitatory synaptic transmission is the you know transmission of impulse, in which the the binding of neurotransmitters on the postsynaptic membranes that excite, okay, the binding of neurotransmitters on the receptors that excite, that stimulate the next neuron. Okay, this is called the excitatory transmission. So the binding of neurotransmitters on the receptors that forms excitatory postsynaptic potential, EPSP. Excitatory postsynaptic potential. Okay, the depolarization of the postsynaptic membrane. That's what it means. Okay, so in case of inhibitory synaptic transmission, as the name implies, that inhibit the depolarization of postsynaptic membrane. Okay, it's a type of inhibition process that does not pass on the impulse to the next neuron. Instead, that further the binding of neurotransmitters on the receptors that further closes all the sodium channels, and we can say that the postsynaptic membrane is now hyperpolarized. Okay, hyperpolarized. This means the binding of neurotransmitters on the postsynaptic membrane that further closes all the channels, or that prevents the depolarization of the postsynaptic membrane. That process is called hyperpolarization. Okay, hyperpolarization. So this is all about the transmission of nerve impulse across a synapse. Okay, so it occurs via the synapse. The structure of a synapse is important, and then synaptic transmission is important. So there are two major portions I have explained today. One is structure of synapse. Okay. Second one is a transmission of impulse across a synapse. Okay. All the best.